The world is about to be ruled by dorks. As technocapitalism becomes more and more mainstream, it pushes traditional capitalism to the side. It's a thing of the past now. With the tech company wage gap growing every single year, technocapitalism is often called techno-feudalism because it's a lot of power and control in the hands of a few while controlling the many. If we take a look back in the past, we could see that the monarchies, the king and queen, basically had all the land. All of the villagers or peasants worked on the kingdom. Anything that they did, they made for the kingdom. So if you made iron and ore, you couldn't just take your iron and ore and then sell it to somebody else. You made it specifically for the kingdom. And then they would divvy out your rations based on what they believed that you would have. They had no control over their lives. The monarchy basically told them how to live. Ironically, what got us out of that kind of traditional way of doing things was capitalism. Being able to control your own wages, to own your own land. That type of stuff is what got us to the point we're in right now. But what if capitalism starts to change and it starts to favor the few instead of the many? Well, then we have a problem, I think. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. So what is technocapitalism? Essentially, it's renting a digital space and having user-generated content pay for it. So right now, I'm actually participating in technocapitalism. I work on YouTube videos and I get a cut of the ad revenue, but YouTube takes 50% of my ad revenue and it goes towards them. So while I do all the work, YouTube still gets a kickback. The more people using it, the more money is generated for Google. And you can see this playing out everywhere. A digital space rented out for a service. Uber, Airbnb, Netflix, Spotify for music, Amazon for goods. Amazon's the biggest one. Amazon takes 20% of every sale from a purchase. All of the social media networks, it all goes back to your phone as the central hub for all of these things to be possible. And it might not sound that bad, right? I mean, I get to work on YouTube videos, I get paid. If I'm really good, I could even quit my job. However, if one day YouTube didn't like what I had to say, then they could suppress me. YouTube creates the algorithm that potentially determines my success, if my content will get pushed or buried. I don't get to decide what changes YouTube makes. If they say, okay, instead of going to take 50%, we're going to take 60%, I don't really have a say in that. Of course, it wouldn't be good for their app for a lot of people to use it, but they could do that if they wanted to. Like medieval times, one or a few people own the land and we just exist in their digital space. Back in the day, if they liked you, they could give you more land, or if they didn't like you, they could put you in the slums. And with everything being online, you could see where this is going to be a problem, or where I could relate that to what's going to happen with techno-capitalism. Right now is okay, but what if one political party over the other starts to take more control of all the social media apps and they don't like what everybody is saying, so they suppress down what everybody else is saying and push forward their own agenda? That's literally like one step away from having a social credit score, like that one Black Mirror episode. Did you say all the right things? Did you do all the right things? Do you believe? And honestly, I could see either side doing this, being a stickler for our rules, our way of thinking. You can't think any other way. I mean, it's just the time we live in. That's just how everybody operates right now. We're at the point now where we have a new ruling class with a new mode of production. This is the Silicon Valley tech bros, the Musks, the Zuckerbergs, the Bezoses. These are the same as the lords of old. The tech bros, or the cloudalists, as Yanis Varoufakis, I think that's how you say his last name, I don't know, as he puts it, could be even more insidious because the same algorithms that guide us to the perfect purchase are also the same algorithms that can command us to go buy something.
My hypothesis, which I want to share with you and to try to explain and to convince you about, is that we now have a new form of capital. When I say now, I mean the last 10, 15 years or so. A new form of capital, I shall be arguing, is emerging. And as it does, as it emerges, as it does so, it is forging a new ruling class, a spanking new ruling class, even a new mode of production. There's a second power that command capital grants its owners, whom I call cloudalists. The same algorithms that guide our purchases also have the capacity surreptitiously to command us, the users, directly to produce new command capital for the cloudalists. I need to stress the importance of this. Under capitalism, the only way capital could be generated, could be produced, was when a capitalist had workers working for her or him, usually him, through the production of surplus value. An amount of that surplus value was reinvested into capital goods. So the only way capital could breed was through the labor market, through the labor process, through the manufacturing that was taking place using waged labor at the factory, in the office, in the supermarket. But what I'm saying here is that the cloudalists have a power that no capitalist ever had. They have the power to make you and I, unwaged, without even realizing that we are working for them, produce part of their command capital. Every time we move around with our phone that has Google Maps on it, Google Maps knows where we are. That increases the command capital of Google.
Today, the tech bros don't even really need employees. All they need is me and you to participate in the space and consume content. So we're making them money without any of us getting paid for it. So just using Amazon as an example for how much money these tech bros are actually bringing in. Last year, Amazon grossed $638 billion. That's billion with a B. That means they average about $2 billion a day. Every time the sun goes down, Amazon just made another billy. Now, the average person in their lifetime will probably touch somewhere between $1 to $5 million. If you were to make on average $70,000 from the time you were 18 to 88, at the end of your life, you would probably make about $4,900,000, okay? And that's just the average Joe and working for the max amount of time that you could possibly work. Again, Amazon makes $2 billion a day. Those numbers are incomprehensible to us. $2 billion a day is a wild amount of money. Through our whole lifetime, 70 years, we will touch about $1 to $5 million. And Amazon makes $1 billion in a day. Just think about that. Amazon was taxed about 6% last year. So that's $9 billion that they were taxed. And they make that in 7 days, if not even less. And I couldn't find a clear answer on how much exactly they paid their employees, and that's probably by design. They probably don't want you to know exactly how much they paid their employees for obvious reasons, but a lot of people estimate it's between 10% and 20%. So on the high end, if we're saying 10%, Amazon makes roughly $565 billion after taxes and after paying their employees. And the rest of that money is probably going back into the company or going in Bezos's pocket, basically. So to put that into perspective, traditional capital markets like Toyota pay their employees 80% of the revenue that they make. So the money that Toyota is generating is going back into the economy when the people are getting paid what they're actually supposed to get paid relative to the percentage of money that's coming in. We're in an inflation right now, and I'm not saying that there isn't things happening behind the scenes that prohibits Zuckerberg, Bezos, and Musk to put their money back into the economy, but there could be something behind the scenes that we don't know about. And to give Elon Musk credit, he has a lot of side projects that he puts his money that he makes back into society to help, whether that's a Mars trip or, AI. And, I know Zuckerberg does some tech stuff too. So I see where some money is going. But right now we're in an inflation. And the reason that the inflation is happening is because of a few multi-billionaires. When the money is not going back into the economy proportional to what the company is making, it forces the banks to print more money because it's not really printing more money, but it's generating more money to to compensate for the money that's not going back into the economy. And boom, we're in inflation city right there, just because of a few multi-billionaires. Now, the power that the tech bros have is not just monetary. I mean, it's not money, it's also influence. From social media networks, they have access to your personal data, to your microphone. I mean, it's already pretty dystopian as it is.
Do you feel like it's a backlash, or do you feel like you're violating people's privacy? Do you feel like you're adequately portrayed as a, because I want to wonder about the person who actually created this thing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff happened along the way. I think, there were real learning points and turning points along the way in terms of building things. It really went from this position very early on where we were just in this college dorm room to, we moved out to California. It was a few friends and me. And, it just kind of had this project feel for a while. And there was this real turning point when companies started trying to buy the company for a huge amount of money. And, I had to kind of get my friends together and we had to decide what was it that we really cared about and what was it that we wanted to do. We decided not to take those offers. And,
right.
To me, a lot of that decision was that what we wanted to do and what we wanted to spend, a big part of our lives doing was just continuing to push and kind of build products that help people share information,
right.
build products that help people stay connected. And that's really what we're spending our time doing. And I think there's just been a lot of space between that early stuff and where we are now. If I knew what I knew now then I hope I wouldn't have made those mistakes. But I can't go back and change the past. I can only do what we think is the right thing going forward.
So, before we move off this privacy thing, and I thought that was a fascinating
Right, it's
answer.
okay. You want to take off the hoodie?
I never take off the hood.
I know you don't. What's with that? There's a group of women in the audience that wish you would. And
No.
girls?
Whoa.
All right.
I saw one time about a year ago that Amazon was selling the Roomba vacuum that vacuums by itself, and they were trying to figure out a way to measure your floor plan of your house so they can figure out your floor plan and sell you some more shit. That's fucking insane. I can't believe it's genius, but it's insane. Like, they're doing the most to try to sell you stuff. The whole goal of these apps is to make money, and if they're not taking money off the top, then how are they making money? And that's from ads. And how are the ads making money? Well, from you and me. Just being on the app, looking at the ad is enough to generate capital for a social media network. So the more time we spend on the app, the more revenue goes in their pockets, because the more spend of that these companies are paying to be put on the platform, for the more people to look at it, the more money they get, the more money like Meta gets, for example, or X, or whatever, any one of these social media platforms. So they rely on us being on the app. And how do they keep you on the app? Well, they can keep you entertained, or they could radicalize you. In 2016, during Trump's first election, Meta changed their terms and policies to push more political content in order to start important conversations. So basically, Facebook wanted you to get angry and stay on the app more, to argue on the app more, to interact with pages and people's posts more. The angry face on Facebook is way more valuable than the like. That angry face content gets pushed up to the top. And we could see a similar thing on X right now. If you go on X and you go onto somebody's tweet, I mean, if you scroll up, it's just nothing but right-wing advertisements for tumblers and shirts and American Eagle shirts and all this other stuff. I mean, it's definitely not a lot of left-wing material selling on X, and that's for sure. So that's where this bot theory gets brought into place, right? Is it real people trying to make us mad, or is it, bots that are just commenting mean stuff and trying to radicalize us that way. Of course, they're not going to tell us which one it is, and if they are, they'll blame it on somebody else, like Russia. They'll say the Russians are trying to radicalize you by tweeting stuff that is fake. Okay, but doesn't that benefit you too if we're staying on the app? So why would the Russians are doing that just because they're mustache twirling villains and they just want to see the world burn? I don't know exactly what's in it for them besides just like, I made them radicalize. They're not. It's not like they're gonna tip society over from tweeting out some mean stuff about black people or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Now, before I wrap this up, I want to talk about one more thing, and that is anarcho-primitivism or technological regressivism. It's this thing. It's been popular lately. Joe Rogan made it popular, and Zuckerberg was the latest one to jump on this bandwagon. But it's basically elite people who have a lot of money, over $1 million, doing this thing where instead of buying their food at the grocery store, they now go out, hunt their own food, kill their own food, grow their own food, eat their own food, and process it all at their house so they see what's going on, right?
Although my favorite is Bo now. I mean, that's, I think, like the most... That feels like the most version of it.
Yeah, if you want to put it that way. Yeah. I mean, if you're just trying to get meat, it's not the most effective. The most effective is certainly a rifle. But I prefer it because it requires more of you.
Yeah, and you just kind of go and hang out. Yeah.
Especially if you're mountain hunting, you have to be really fit.
Yeah.
You can't just be kind of in shape. You got to be really fit if you want to huff up the mountains and keep your heart rate at a certain level so that when you get to the top, you can execute a shot calmly.
And then actually carry the thing out.
Yeah, and carry the thing out.
Yeah, no, I mostly use a rifle just because it's so much more efficient. Your conversion rate is so much higher. But it's, but yeah, another...
What kind of bow do you have?
Gosh. I didn't get to do it this season, but
do you know the company that makes it?
Not off the top of my head. I have a few.
You have to know.
Yeah, no, this is embarrassing.
I don't know what it is with elites, but they seem to be learning how to fight, learning how to hunt, learning how to fish and trap and live out into the world. It seems like they're the ones who don't want to be on the online world the most, which is kind of telling. I mean, why wouldn't they want to be on this cloudless, addictive, social media apps that they're perpetuating to us? Why don't they want to be on? Why are they going more outside instead of being on the apps that they're creating? It's like they know something. It's like they know how unhealthy it is to be on these apps that they've created. I mean, this stuff literally preys on our psychology, our sex, our health, our wealth, our eating habits. I mean, it literally affects almost every aspect of our life. So if the elites who have all the money in the world are taking this route of wanting to live more inside the world and not in the meta universe, which it's ironic that the guy, Mark Zuckerberg, who is building literally a meta universe, wants to be outside and not in his own meta universe, but he wants us to be in his meta universe. Man, get the out of here. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know the answer, but it's up to you to ask. Are they out there living that way because they know something we don't? Or is it just a privilege thing where ease of life is so easy that you need to go and challenge yourself? Maybe it's just that. It could just be that simple. This $1 billion cash gap is not one that we've seen since literally monarchy times. These companies have the ability to increase wages, which, give Amazon some credit, they put in $1 billion last year into their employees fund to help their employees get paid a little bit more, probably because they were under so much scrutiny. But $1 billion, and what do we know about $1 billion? They make that in about 12 hours. So they gave their employees what they make in about 12 hours. Yay, I guess. I think they could do a little bit better than that. So what does this mean for us? What am I trying to say in this video? Does this mean we need to just go off the grid and hunt and trap and fish and stay away from social media? Well, no, not really. I think that a lot of these apps and the convenience of everything gives us an ease of life that was never experienced by any humans. I mean, everything is literally at the touch of our fingertips. It just comes with a lot of things that need restructuring. If people are making multi-billion dollars, well, then we need regulations for that. We need new rules and new stipulations in place for this new amount of wealth that people are generating. Uber helps people live financially free and work when they want to. Amazon helps small businesses grow and stay afloat and helps them to sell their goods, helps small businesses and individuals sell their goods without, even having a physical shop. And on YouTube, right now, me as a creator, I have freedom to speak my mind and be artistically creative without having a patron or an investor. So it's not all bad, but it's also not all good. These things are really helpful to us in some ways and hurtful in other ways. Right now, people who make $600,000 a year, $6 million a year, and $600 billion are all in the same tax bracket. That needs to be fixed. 6% of 600,000 is going to hit way different than 6% of 600 billion. Look, I don't think we should go as far as saying that communism is now a viable option, because I don't believe that in the slightest. Right now, with the wage gap the way it is, if you have communism, we're the ones who are going to be communists, not the elites. The elites are still going to do whatever they want to do. We're going to be the ones who have to regulate when we turn on our air conditioning. Meanwhile, their 5 houses that they owned are perfectly air conditioned whenever they want to. We're going to have to watch our gas emissions when we leave the house. Meanwhile, they fly on their private jets and land wherever they want to land. It'll be communism for us, not for them. We should be questioning where all of this money is going if it's going to directly infect the economy that me and you participate in, the economy that me and you have to buy houses in. We deserve to question that kind of money. And that's not a political stance. That is just facts for every American. Left or right, you should want to know what this means when people are making this amount of money. If you take anything from this video, it should be that new amounts of wealth require new amounts of regulation, because capitalism can be one of the greatest things to happen to all of us, but it has to be regulated and it has to be fair. One of the most terrifying things to think about while I was researching this was thinking about the last election and being like, what if that last election was literally just to see if they could sway public opinion through the Silicon Valley tech bros and how they operate? Could they sway the opinion on social media and social apps? Is that possible? And is this the result of a test that we were all subject to? It's kind of scary. But that's it for this video, guys. I am done. As always, leave a like if you like this video. Comment down below to help me with the algorithm. If you made it this far, you're an absolute lunatic. You're a crazy person. You should not listen to me this long. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching again, and I'm out.